So far, we have seen uh, constitution used in the various subjects, the use of constitution in the homeopathic materia medica, the use of constitution in the homeopathic materia medica. It is not only related with a limited sense of physical makeup, it has a wider sense that it has also applied with respect to the certain disease tendencies observed in certain individuals. And we have mainly seen the very important contribution of Dr. Gravol in understanding this concept of constitution. And then we have also understood the other contexts in which the word constitution is used in the homeopathic materia medica. Now, whatever examples or whatever meaning I have taken, I have just limited myself to the basic work of Constantine Hering and basic work of Alan Skinner. Even today, the modern authors of Materia Medica use this word constitution in a different sense. So there is one very modern popular author of homeopathic Materia Medica is Dr. Ajit Kulkarni, and he has written one book, Select Materia Medica. He has added few more context with respect to this word constitution. I have not extended myself to that, but to just to give example, Dr. Ajit Kulkarni in his book has also introduced one more type of constitution, that is traumatic constitution, and this it is a mention in the Arnica Montana. What is the meaning of this traumatic constitution is that the constitutions which are deeply affected by certain kind of traumas, and accordingly he has used this word traumatic constitution. So, so far I think there is no difficulty. You have understood the use of word constitution, its different contexts in homeopathic materia medica. Then we'll see what is the scope of this terminology while studying the homeopathic materia medica, whether it is a good or whether it is a bad, what are the scopes and what are the limitations of using this terminologies. So the scope and limitations are same as that we have studied in the previous terminologies, like clinicals, therapeutics, sphere of action. Hmm? The slide is same, but the explanation is now different. So it helps us in the remembering the symptom. Now, to remember a person or remember a remedy who has symptoms, or like the person or the prover is obese, it is aggravated by cold, aggravated by damp, aggravated by rainy, aggravated by eating the food containing water, it is aggravated by residing in the near of water sources. So many sentences, and to remember these sentences, it is very difficult. But instead of all these things, if you just remember, yes, this remedy has a hydrogenoid constitution, just two words, and you can remember, I think, at least 10 symptoms of that remedy. Again, the same example, oxygenoid constitution. If you just remember, you can remember certain symptoms of that specific remedy. Once it is said that this person or this remedy has a lymphatic constitution, you understand that the symptoms are more related with the lymph node or related with the lymph gland. Then another use of this term is it aids in the comparative study. It helps in the comparative study. Now, how? There are so many symptoms which are common to the various remedies. For example, Podophyllum, Aloes, and Nux vomica. I will again repeat: Podophyllum, Nux vomica, Aloes, and Pulsatilla. So these four drugs are having so many common symptoms of diarrhea. And if you study, these four remedies will usually come for the differentiation. And if you know the constitution of pulsatilla is different, the constitution of nux vomica is different, the constitution of podophyllum is different, you can understand, you can compare this remedy. And one more help of this terminology, it helps in the final differentiation of remedy. So final differentiation is when we are using the remedy for a patient, and comparative study means the study where we are just applying it while studying the homeopathic remedy. And then what is the limitation or demerit of using this terminology and remembering this terminology and applying this terminology in homeopathic practice? The first limitation is it is not the direct information which is given by the prover. It is the indirect information which is evolved after the retrospective analysis of drug proving, so it has less value. Now this information is again related with the second phase of evolution of homeopathic materia medica. Then how this constitution is evolved. So for example, there are 100 provers, and out of these 100 provers, there are few provers of certain type of physical appearance have shown maximum symptom related to that specific remedy. I'm again repeating how this constitution is derived in the retrospective study of materia medica. After collecting the day books, the in charge of prover analyzes all the data, and in that analysis he has found that there was actually say 10 provers or 100 provers which are involved in this drug proving experiment, and he just compare the number of symptoms in the number of individuals, and he just compares this the constitution of that individual and number of symptoms which have been given by that specific type of prover having that specific constitution. And after that analysis, the prover will come to know that, oh, this lymphatic type of constitution has maximum symptoms of a remedy like conium, and then they will conclude this conium as a lymphatic constitution. Or apis mellifica, say out of 100 provers, 75 provers has given maximum number of symptoms of apis mellifica, and it has been found that the 75 provers of who has given the more number of symptoms, actually they belong to this lymphatic type of constitutions, or their symptoms are more related with the lymph nodes or lymphatic systems. And then from that study, that means there are two type of study: the type of paternity in which they are getting the maximum symptoms. For example, more number of lean persons are showing the symptoms of say remedy X, and then they will conclude that this remedy X has usually the lean constitution. Then another type of analysis is depending upon the information related to the disease. If more number of symptoms are related with if more number of symptoms are related with lymph nodes, it will be also called as a lymphatic constitution. And so this is how this terminology constitution is an indirect terminology derived in the process of analysis of day books. And similarly, there are clinical verifications are also there of this terminologies, and after this analysis, after this clinical verification, it is been confirmed that this Apis mellifica has this strumous constitution or scrofulous constitution, and then it finally comes into the Materia medica, and in that way the word constitution is used in our homeopathic Materia medica. So these are the various scopes, merit, importance, and the important limitation of this terminology, constitution